Hundreds of millions of Chinese on the move again as the Lunar New Year holiday winds down. The big crowds are putting a strain on the transportation system. Rail stations are packed and winter weather could pose problems. Sections of highways have been shut down in 11 provinces because of low visibility from fog, and icy conditions have grounded flights in China's northeast and eastern regions. For more on the Spring Festival travel rush, I spoke to Professor Xiang Li from Temple University School of Tourism and Hospitality Management. I asked him to compare this year's tourism to previous years.
Well, as everybody knows, that Chinese outbound tourism has been growing very rapidly this year. And the most widely cited statistic shows that this year there will be 6 million Chinese tourists traveling overseas. That will be about a 15% increase from last year. So what we are seeing is many major destinations in the Western world have added lots of Chinese elements in their city decoration and pretty much everywhere.
And what are some of those popular destinations?
Popular destinations, because it's a 7-day holiday, so most of the Chinese tourists will stay within the region. So Hong Kong and Taipei rank very high on the list. But also you will see like Japan, Korea, South Korea, and Thailand, also very popular destinations. But then we also see increasingly more Chinese tourists traveling further outside Asia. They're traveling to Europe, they're coming to North America. So one anecdotal evidence shows that Los Angeles is seeing about 40% increase in air booking during the Spring Festival.
Interesting. Would you say most Chinese stay within China, or would most of them travel actually overseas?
I would say that's, comparatively speaking, most of them still stay within China. But increasingly, we are seeing lots of Chinese tourists using the Spring Festival as a chance for them to travel abroad. And traditionally, Spring Festival is considered a holiday for family get-together. But increasingly, the new generation of Chinese tourists are using the holiday for travel, for leisure travel. So they're exploring domestic and overseas destinations.
So what are some of the trends you're seeing this year? What were they looking for? What were they shopping for? What were they eating? What were they doing for fun?
The Chinese tourists, the stereotypical Chinese tourists travel in groups, and they have a camera, they follow the tour guides, and they do a little bit sightseeing, and then maybe take a selfie, and then they check out the next destination. But increasingly what we're seeing is the new generation of Chinese tourists. The statistic shows that 56% of Chinese outbound tourists are born after 1980s. And about 60% of them were repeat travelers, meaning they have already had some outbound travel experiences. And so they're getting more experienced, they're more sophisticated when they travel abroad.
Would you say
when they travel abroad, yeah, go ahead.
Would you say the new generation has more of a sense of an adventure than the older generation of Chinese tourists?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're technology savvy, they're value conscious, they're not afraid of exploring to remote destinations that's off the beaten track. So we call them the new wave of Chinese tourists, or as my new book calls them, this is Chinese outbound tourism 2.0. We are talking about a new generation and a new phenomenon, essentially.